Okay, girls, today we're going to start looking at decimals, and we're just going to look at the basics of decimals today. Now, decimal numbers have a whole number part, and then there's a decimal point, and there are these bits after the decimal point. Now, the bits after the decimal point are less than 1 unit. So we've got, for example, here's my decimal point. I've got hundreds, tens, ones. You know that already. Then you've got the decimal point. Then you've got tenths, which is 1 out of 10. Okay, so we've got our whole number part on the left-hand side of our... So you've got your whole number bit on the left-hand side of the decimal point, and over here you've got like your decimal part. Okay? Now, all of these are bigger than 1. So you've got ones, tens, hundreds, but all of these columns, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So a tenth is 1 out of 10. It's 1/10. Hundredths is 1 out of 100. So if you can imagine 100 blocks and you've got one of them, 1 out of 100. And the thousandths column is 1 out of 1,000. So I might give you an example of any number, like 623.748, for example. I've got, what would be the value of the 6 here? 6 what? 600, yeah. You can, look, when we say place value, you can say you've got 6 lots of hundreds. It's the value of that 6 is 600. What about the value of this 8? It's 8 lots of 1,000th. It's 8 thousandths. Now we're going to look at these in a minute, all right? The 7 here is worth, it's tenths, so it's 7 tenths. So, wait, we're going to do some examples here. So, girls, what's the place value of 3 in this example here?
Hundreds.
Tenths, hundredths. So I write that it's worth 3 out of 100. Do you see that, girl? It's 3 hundredths. So that's the tenths column, the hundredths column. So it's worth, it is in the hundredths column, but that 3 is worth 3 out of 100. Okay? What about the 8, place value of the 8 in this number here? Girls, what's the place value of the 8? 8 in which column? Yeah, tenths, hundredths. You don't have units. So we've got tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That 8 is worth 8 thousandths. And the place value of the 1 in this number, 1/10. It's worth 1/10. Now, can you do, I want you to do the place value of the 2 there. Can you also do the place value of the 9? And can you do so we're looking at the number here. And can you do also the place value of, so you don't get confused, of the 7? So, your turn. What is the place value of 2? I want an answer. Then for the same number, I want the place value of the 9. And then give me the place value of the 7 so that you don't get confused between decimals and whole number parts. You okay? Okay, the place value of the 2. This is the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths column. So it's 2 what? 2 hundredths. Okay. The place value of the 9. Yeah, it's in the tenths column. So there is no units column after the point. The units column is before the point. So you're basically going 100, 10, 1. Then you've got the point. See how you're then going 1 over 10? See, girls, each column to the right is 10 times smaller. Isn't 100 divided by 10, 10? 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 divided by 10 is 1 divided by 10. If you divide that by 10, you get 1 over 100. And if you divide that by 10, you get 1 over 1,000. So every column going to the right is 10 times smaller than the column before it. Okay, so from the 1, you'd go 1 divided by 10, 1/10, then 100, then 1,000, okay? Place value of the 9 is 9 tenths. What about the place value of the 7 there? Yeah, so it's worth, what's the 7 worth? 70. So, yeah, it's worth 70. But it is in the tens column. You can go like this, 7 times 10, 70, that's fine. Okay, now, girls, you'll see some zeros with decimals. So girls, we've got, with this one, are we okay? We've got 63.12. 63 is the whole number part, and 0.12, that's the decimal part. We've got 1/10 and 2 hundredths. Now if I look here, I've got 6 tens, 3 units, 1/10, 200ths. How many thousandths have I got? How many thousandths have I got? Do you think these zeros on the end change the value of that?
No.
If I look at 63.12 and 63.1200, let's compare. 6 is in the tens column for both, yes? 3 is in the units column. The decimal point's the same. They've both got 1 in the tenths column, and they've both got 2 in the hundredths column. This one's got 0 or nothing in the thousandths column and nothing in the 10,000ths column. So they mean exactly the same thing. So 63.12 has the same value as 63.1200. I could put 100 zeros on the end. So girls, zeros at the end of a decimal, at the end of a decimal, do not change the value of the decimal, but they do if you put them inside, in the middle. Okay? So on the end, I've just got nothing on the end. 0 thousandths, 0 10,000ths. So give me some more numbers that 45.60 would be the same as. 45.60 has the same value as 45.6 or 45.600. Do you see? Or 45.60000, whatever you like. Zeros on the end don't change anything. They've all got 4 tenths, they've all got 5 in the units column, and they've all got 6 in the tenths column, but these have got nothing in the hundredths, nothing in the thousandths. So zeros on the end don't change anything. Okay? Are we good? Now, girls, decimal places. Have you heard of this before? Decimal places. Now, girls, if you want, so what do decimal places mean? Decimal places are the number of digits after the decimal point. So, girls, when you see a decimal, you've got the whole number bit and the decimal bit. The decimal bit is after the point. So, whole number bit is before the point. So, when we ask for decimal places, it tells us the number of digits after the decimal point. Tells us the number of decimal places. So look at 3.56. How many decimal places?
2.
How many digits after the point? 2. What about this one? 322.1. How many decimal places? 1 digit after the point. Be careful with this. I know that the 0 on the end does not change the value of that, but how many decimal places, how many digits after the point? Now there's actually 4. There is 4, even though the 0 doesn't mean anything, but that has got 1, 2, 3, 4 digits after the decimal point, so it's got 4 decimal places. Now, even though the 0 doesn't change the value, so girls, this has 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Number of decimal places is number of digits in the decimal part of your number. Remember the whole number parts at the beginning? The decimal part is there. So now, write the number of decimal places for these. How many?
3.
Yep, 3 digit number of decimal places here. 2 decimal places. Now, so girls, we've learnt about place value, that zeros at the end of a decimal do not change the value of the number, and we've learnt what decimal places are. Now, the next thing we're going to do, can I move from here? Is to compare decimals. Now, to compare decimals more easily, insert zeros at the end to give all the numbers the same amount of decimal places. Decimals can be compared using inequality symbols. That's greater than or less than, for example, or by writing them in ascending or descending order. Ascending, how do you remember that one, girls? Going up. Ascending order means to go from smallest to bigger. It's going up. Descending order means to go from biggest to smallest or going down. If we want to compare those two, there are 2 ways to do this. What I can do, how many decimal places does 63.1 have? How many decimal places? 1. So how do I give it 2? By putting a 0 on the end. And this one is 63.11. So you can call it 63.10, 63.11. Can you see the 6's are the same, the 3's are the same, the points are the same, the 1's are the same. That's got a 1 in the hundredths column, this has got a 0, or just compare the 10 and 11. What's bigger? So that means that that's bigger. So therefore that's bigger. You got it? So 63, the other thing you can do, 6's are the same, 3's are the same, the points are the same, the 1's are the same. Now, I put that 0, what's bigger, the 0 or the 1? The 1. But girls, I prefer to go 63.10, 63.11, 11's bigger than 10. Makes more sense. Okay, girls, now we want to write these numbers here in ascending order. So girls, let's start writing them out. 2.43, 2.34, don't know where I'm going to fit it. Actually, or I can put it underneath. Some of them need zeros. 2.403, 2.3, 2.304. Now, how many decimal places are there in, well, what's the biggest number of decimal places? Girls, some of them have got 2 decimal places. Some of them have got 3. Some of them have got 1. How are you going to make them all look the same? Add zeros. How many does the first one need?
1.
And the second one? 1. That's already got 3. 2. Now, the 2's are all the same. The points are all the same. Now, just look at the numbers afterwards. 430, 340, 403, 300 and 304. Can you put a 1 next to the smallest one for me? Which one's the smallest? Number 1. Number 2 is? What's the next smallest?
340. 4.
Number 2. Next one?
340.
Number 3. You know what you might actually do, girls, is put your extra digits that you're adding in a different colour so that you know what the original numbers were. Do you know what I mean? What's the next smallest? 403 or 430? 4 and 5. So when I rewrite them in ascending order, the first one is not 2.300, it's just 2.3. Do you understand? In the question, they did not tell me 2.300, they told me 2.3. So that's my smallest. What's my next? I've numbered them. What's next?
2.3.
04. That's number 2. What's number 3? 2 point? And I don't put the 0. Do you understand? I have to write these original numbers out in my answer, not the ones that I changed and added zeros to. Yes?
If you put,
You'll probably still get it right, but, well, hopefully not. So that's the first, the second, the third. What's next? 2.4 what? 03 is the fourth one, and the fifth one is 2.43. So girls, if you're going to go and add zeros, do them in another colour, and then you can see what you've added and what you haven't. Do you get the idea? Easy enough, girls, or what? Do zeros on the end make a difference? At the end. They don't change the value. They'll just change how many decimal places you've got, but they don't change its value. Can I move from there, girls, or not? Right, let's go over. Let's try this yourselves now. So it says, which one's bigger, girls? How many decimal places there? So what are you going to add? And how many here? Add a 0 here. And now you're going 090 is 90. Does that make sense? Reading after the point. That's 90. And what's this one? 009. It's like 007. 009 is just 9, isn't it? That's 9 and that's 90. Which one's bigger? Now, this is the other thing you can do if you don't like doing that. Just watch what I'm going to do. The ones are the same, yeah? Wait, I'll show you. The points are the same because I'm going to look at the two numbers now. The ones are the same, agree? The points are the same. The next zeros are the same. But when I get to the next bit, that's a 9 and that's still a 0. You can compare the units, the decimal point, the tenths column, the hundredths column. Because look, isn't 90 bigger than 9? 009.
But where the 9 is, there's no...
Yeah, but all right, this is what I've got. See how I've got 1.09. Just compare. Actually, I'll do it over here that I haven't written on it. Watch. Watch. Girls, we're comparing side by side. The ones are the same. The points are the same. So they're all looking the same so far. Starting from left to right. The zeros are the same. Now, that 9 matches with this 0. Do you see that? They're both in the hundredths place. Is 9 bigger than 0? Yes, so this is a bigger number. Because so we've got 1 in the units column. They've both got a decimal point. They've both got 0 in the tenths column. But this one's got 9 hundredths and that's got no hundredths. Hundredths are bigger than thousands. So you can compare them side by side like that. So therefore that is the bigger number. Now to write these in ascending order, so we're going to write them out. 8.098. You okay, girls? 8.89, 8.089, 8.09. Now, girls, you can use either method. Ladies, you can, if you want, compare all the 8s, they're the same. Compare all the points, they're the same. Can you already tell me? See, if you compare the tenths column, I've got 3 with zeros, or I think it's easier. Do you find it easier just to add the zeros on the end? Yeah. So let's add the zeros. We got 2, we add 1 more. Add 1 there and add 1 there. What's the smallest, girls? The 8s are the same. 8. And the points are the same. So now let's look. 8 point what? Which one's smaller? The 8s are all the same. Let's look after the points. I've got those. No, it's 089. Girls, yeah, the 089 is the smallest. What's the next smallest? Girls, what's the next smallest? 089 is just 89. What's the next smallest? Girls, do you know what's the next smallest? Girls, someone... 90? See, that's 89. 90. What's the next smallest number? 3. Then I've got, what's the next smallest? 90. It's 980 or 890? 990. And 980. Look, girls, the other thing you can do is the following. The 8s are all the same. The points are all the same. The next ones, the 9 and the 8 are not the smallest. The ones with zeros will be the smallest. So I'm going to look at these 3 with zeros and compare them. Now those 3 with zeros, I'm going to compare those. The next digits are 9, 8 and 9. 8 is smaller than 9. Do you see that? So that's the smallest. Then you'll compare the 9s. They're the same, but that's got the smallest one after it. 0 is smaller than 8. I think put zeros on the ends, girls, it's easier. Girls, 8.089, 8.09, 8.098, 8.89 and 8.98 in ascending order. If I ask descending order, I'd want them opposite, biggest to smallest. Okay? Are we okay, girls? Can you see that? All right, girls.